This shows you an example of how you can use scores or likes to make decisions and to make decisions easier to make using a way of looking at your criteria and your likes in two different ways. What can you see? What will you see? You'll see a way to make decision using likes or ratings that you give, options you have. We'll also show you that if you only count how many likes you have, you may not be able to make a decision. You may not be comfortable with that. And it shows you how to make scoring count. And the first step in the process is to know what is the decision that you want to make. So be clear about your decision objective. I'm going to give you an example. It's a guy called Jack, just an arbitrary guy. He has to pick a company he wants to work for. And you need to know what your options are for your decision. So in the case of Jack, he has to choose between company A and company B. Imagine they both have given him offers, and now he has to choose what he wants to do, and he doesn't know what to do. So on the third point there, the most important aspects of this decision, he has to think about that. What is the most important aspects that will make him want to choose for company A or for company B? So as you can see on this page here, Jack has written down on the left side 5 different aspects or criteria that will be important to him as he makes this decision. The salary he's going to get, the location of the office from his home, the boss's personality, how much strategic tasks he's going to get to do, and what is the potential of impact that his job or his role could have on the team. And those things are very important to him. The next thing he has to do is to differentiate which one of those 5 aspects are more important to him than the others. And to those ones, he gives a higher percentage out of 100. So, for example, on salary, Jack thought about it and he came to the conclusion that salary is quite important to him. So he's given salary 30% importance. Location is important, but not as much as salary. So Jack gave that only 20%. And so he went through the rest of the list until he'd used up all the 100%. And now he's ready to go to the next step. The next step is scoring from 1 to 5, all those aspects or criteria for the company A and for company B. So 1 would be terrible, I hate it, and score 5 would be I love it, it's excellent. So in this case, what we see is on salary, Jack has scored company A 2.5 and he scored company B 4. So we can assume that company B offered him a higher salary. Location, he's given a 2 to company A and a 3 to company B. So again, we can assume that B is a little closer to his home. Not much, but it's just a 1-point difference. On boss's personality, I guess he had interviews, and from the interviews, he liked them both equally. And so you see the rest of his scores right there. So these are just Jack's straight like scores. How much he likes something compared to what he decided to use as rating criteria. Now we're going to get to calculate the weighted score. We're going to take into account with this how much Jack wanted salary to count towards his decision, for example. So if you recall, Jack said that out of the 100%, salary was going to count at least 30% towards his decision. So how do we work out the weighted score? We take the weight, we times it by the score, and that gives us the example. So we know 30% can also be written as 0.3. His score was 2.5, so we times it by 0.3 for the weighting, which represents the 30%, and we come to the conclusion or the weighted score of 0.75. And equally for company B, he would do 0.3 times 4 in that particular example that you see. So you can either use a spreadsheet that does it automatically, or if you have to do it by hand, this is how you would do that. When you have calculated all the weighted scores, of course, you can now start and add them up. And if you look at it, you'll see that just the scores without the weights, the difference between them is between 12.5 and 18, so it's just less than 6. And then on the other side, you see the weighted scores. But if you look at these, you may still feel, how do I make my decision? And here's what you see, where you see the difference. Look at the difference in scores between the straight scores, where you don't take into account how much something matters to you. In that case, the difference between company A and company B is 44%. Now, maybe that's enough for you to decide you want to go with company B. Maybe you feel, on the other hand, the margin is too small. And that's where, if you look at the weighted score, you see that that percentage difference goes up quite a lot, because company B has scored highly in areas that really matter to Jack. So in that case, if Jack looks at the weighted scores and he sees that company B, the difference between company B and A, company B is better by 57%, that may give him a stronger reason to decide to go with company B in his path forward and where he wants to take his career.